What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Josh, the Screen Gazer, and I'm back talking about a horror thriller. And I haven't really covered too much horror thriller on the show, but we're talking about Undertone. It is about a podcast that receives files, they listen to the files, and then all hell breaks loose. Now, it's an hour and 30 minutes, so it's a bit of a short watch. Well, an hour and 34, but with credits, it pushes to that 34-minute mark. But going into it, I they were really advertising it as it's the scariest, movie you've ever heard. Because this movie plays a lot on that audio, that sound design, that audio design perspective, and that's where kind of that horror, creepy, disturbing nature comes from. So the first, I'd say, hour it wasn't scary. Granted, though, I don't know how much I find scary to like any other person, but for me, I didn't really get scared. It was more just creepy sounding and there was like disturbing imagery, not too much. But the whole premise is basically the main star, which is Nina Kiri, hosts a podcast with Adam DeMarco's character Justin, and they play as hosts as or for the Undertone podcast. And what this podcast is they every week or whenever they post, they talk about or cover a disturbing topic, whether that's real or fake. Evie is kind of like the mythical buster, like, oh, I don't believe, while Justin is kind of more the person that does the research, brings it to Evie, then they talk about it because Justin's the one that kind of believes in like the supernatural stuff like that. So I know there are podcasts right now that are similar to this style, but on one of these occasions they get sent a file from a random email, 10 audio files, and then after listening to it and doing research, disturbing things start to happen in Evie's household. I don't think anything happens to Justin, but the reason why is because apparently there's a demon within these files that are tied to like nursery rhymes playing in reverse and the taking of children and stuff like that. And Evie's mom is heavily religious, so Evie probably grew up in that environment, and also she's pregnant, and a lot of the so-called victims of this demon usually lead to either miscarriage or they're in the middle of their pregnancy, so like 4 months, 5 months, all the victims, all the supposed victims, it's not really confirmed, have like died because of mysterious ways, and there's painting on the wall of children and this demon. And then eventually at the end, it does lead to Evie, I guess, succumbing to the possession, and her mom dies right when this happens, and then she also perishes same way as how the audio files and research found by Justin, like how the victims end up. And going into it, I thought it would be a bit different. You know, it's a obviously demonic possession. So many movies do that. I was thinking, okay, maybe this is different, because it plays on that sound aspect, you know, and it kind of reminded me of Skinamarink. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have seen that, but if you have, then you know what I'm talking about, where there's just a bunch of darkness and sounds, but nothing really shows up. So it kind of plays tricks with your mind, thinking like, oh, something's coming, or you can see something in the darkness. It's similar to that, where there's audio and it shows Evie, but there's so much space to her left or right or behind it, and you think, oh, something's coming up from behind, or just like kind of getting your mind all mixed up and like ready to get caught off guard, but nothing ever really happens. It's kind of just audio. And I feel like that's why it's not scary. It's just playing disturbing noises as, Evie and Justin listen to these audio files and they talk about it. But it definitely seems like Evie's life is, I don't know, collapsing since she found out that she's pregnant and listening to these audio files. But then it's deemed that her mom apparently bought an artifact from this lady, and that's what's possibly cursing her and Evie. But like I said, I thought the hour was really good, but the last 30 minutes or last 20 to 30 minutes, it kind of like becomes a bit corny. You can kind of guess, I guess, in the first 20 minutes, like, oh, like she listened to all 10 of the audio files. You shouldn't have done that. and then they perish. Granted, I don't know what happens to Justin. I guess he's okay because he's a man, and the demon isn't after him because he can't produce children. I guess like it sounds like he's fine at the end. It is unfortunate because I thought this movie would be different, and it was different in terms of the audio and sound design. I thought it was magnificent. Like it kind of got you on like the edge of your seat, like oh god, like, and it is a bit disturbing with the audio, but imagery is anything you've seen in any other horror movie. The premise is like, oh, like you listen to it live, so you just subjected everyone to, well, like listening to the files. I bet they're doomed if they're a woman and in the middle of having a kid, unless you need the artifact that her mom bought, then maybe you're safe. I don't know. Like overall, I thought the movie was really good until those last 20 minutes. It kind of ruined it, and I'd rate this like a seven, probably a 7 out of 10. It was decent. Um, if you kind of like that sound, audio, technical ability, then I think you'd love this movie. As for the scariness, it's okay. It's not really that scary. I mean, there's some jump scares here and there, but it didn't really get me. I thought just it was more creepy and disturbing. I think that's what it was trying to play at. But that's all I got for y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.